Asra Nomani is with us, and hopefully, I think you have some good news for us, Asra.
Oh, yes. I
All
hope
right.
everyone's strapped in.
Yeah, good. I'm ready to hear some good news. What is happening on the school board front?
Well, what's fantastic is that we have this Mama Bear revolution coming up in school districts around the country, and have made the School Board Association back down from their threat against our parents. Of course, they issued an apology to their own members Friday night, one of those Friday night missives that they hope will get ignored, but they don't realize we're all home because our kids are home, right? We're paying attention to everything. I don't think they got the memo, or they forgot that little point about moms having eyes in the back of our heads,
Yes.
right, Glenn?
Yes.
You're an investigator, you're a researcher, but you don't even have anything on a mom, right?
Oh, no. You really don't. You really don't.
And we've got these mama bears, and I think we all grew up reading a little Nancy Drew, because we know how you got to follow the money. You have to find out the truth. We don't accept white lies, right? We don't accept this kind of nonsense. And so what we were able to do last week was, earlier we established really clearly that the Attorney General had a conflict of interest with his son-in-law running a company that profits off of school board decisions, the company called Panorama Education. And then with this great work that our mom-in-chief at Parents Defending Education did, she sent Freedom of Information Act requests to every single member of the National School Board Association's board of directors, and they are all school board officials. So as you know, their emails are open to public scrutiny.
Correct.
And so in those emails, we got evidence that the School Board Association interim director, Chip Slavin, acknowledged that he'd been in talks with the White House for, quote, several weeks before he issued the letter asking for intervention from the Justice Department. And voila, you've got this, this completely cooked up campaign then against parents.
So there's something new as well. There is a new member to the National Assessment Governing Board. Are you aware of this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So she was the co-signer on this letter calling for help from the White House. And Ms. Garcia is her name, and she is the president of the National School Board Association. And so conveniently, she was named by the Education Secretary, as we know, a political appointee in the Biden administration, to this much coveted role, that now has oversight over school assessments and does a report card every year. And again, bringing it back to the money, the industry that has emerged over the last several years, particularly of this thing called education technology, hinges its work on assessments. And they cook the books many times. Like, it's very, very, dubious, some of their evidence-based. It's really not evidence-based, but it's very important that we understand that these government appointments help private industry and in some cases not-for-profits that are actually working for profit. Got another headline for you, Glenn, because I know you love breaking news.
Yeah.
Chip Slavin, I was just up late last night investigating this, but Chip Slavin, the interim president for the National School Board Association, he is actually has been an advisor to an education technology company, and that company has its founder is the chair of the commission that Garcia was appointed to.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I knew.
I mean,
you'd get
this
it.
is
I knew.
just so incestuous.
Yeah, I knew you would understand. I can see your mind working, connecting the dots and understanding exactly what I just told you. Yeah, it's incestuous, and it's everything. It's just traditional, like gumshoe reporting that we have to do on this, and we have to remember always that school system that has your child walking through its doors is part of an industry. Like we have to always put now incorporated
Yes.
behind every, like it's Fairfax County Public Schools Incorporated.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's really disgusting that they hide behind these are public schools and we hate corporations, because as we saw with Common Core, a lot of the goals that are being set now by these corporations in the guise of helping students is just to make better workers for those corporations.
Yeah, better workers, and then also build a market, right?
Yes.
They're building a market. So this is the rest of the story that I definitely want to make sure that we get time to talk about. So for the last 4 months, I've filed 200 plus FOIAs with the public school systems in America. And we created something that we've called the consultant report card. And the last time I was on, I promised your listeners that I'm going to give them a top 10 list of companies to look for in their school district.
Okay.
So we've got it. Go to defendinged.org and look for the consultant report card. And one of the first blogs that we've got, their blog post, is the list of the top 10. But then beyond that, we've identified 200 plus companies and consultants that have raised over $20 million in contracts that we've documented. And Glenn, this is just tip of the iceberg.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, and the number one company is Panorama Education.
Jeez.
And so, and so right now we just dropped a piece in Real Clear Education that I want everyone to look at. Like, go to my Twitter thread, and I'll tag you on it also. But everyone needs to know, like, this company, Panorama Education, as an example, they are using something called social and emotional learning to data mine your kids and psychologically profile them. And we have an example in our column today that I co-wrote with my colleague Erica Sanzi, where you can see to 9 students in Portland Public Schools, in one particular school, that one boy said that he was gay. Like, do I need to know that information? No. Does a company in Boston need to know that information? No. And guess what? They also are surveying the parents. So I know now, and you know now, all you got to do is Google Portland Public Schools and Panorama Screener survey results, and you will know how many parents self-identify as questioning, as non-binary, as transgender, and then heterosexual, since, they count too.
And this is all being done by the school district?
Yes. So what is happening is the school district, this big enterprise, is outsourcing to these contractors like Panorama Education this work. And what we found in Fairfax County, Virginia, is that they are able to bypass all these privacy laws that are put in place to protect our young people by, you will not believe this, they put into the contract that Panorama Education officials are deemed school officials. Mm-hmm. And that's how they get access to the information.
Let me go back to the School Board Association, the National School Board Association. We have Pennsylvania, Missouri, and Ohio now dropping out and saying we don't want anything to do with the National School Board Association because of the letter. Now with the news, not only of the letter, but the collusion with the White House and the money that is being made, and I think it was a letter to protect that money to the Attorney General. Yeah. Why aren't more state school board associations pulling out of the National School Board Association?
Yes, so these are the ones that have pulled out, as you said, but our number now is at 21 states out of 50, right, that have distanced themselves and reprimanded the National School Board Association for their letter. So this is like classic.
Why wouldn't they pull out though? Why are they just saying, "Hey, this is a bad"? What do they get from the National School Board Association?
Yeah, Glenn, it's the same machine, right, that Washington trade groups pull on state organizations or as you know, like we do this in industry, we do it in public office. Like this is our public roles. Like this is why the teachers union has such power, right? As a national, like they claim to represent the states, and these are. I pulled the 990 on the National School Board Association. It's a multi-million-dollar nonprofit, quote unquote nonprofit, right? And they just tell these local folks, as you know, oh, we're going to represent you in Washington. We're going to lobby for you. We're going to get, what they do. Like they get their language and the appropriation language. They get money funneled to the states. Whatever, shenanigans they're trying to pull in D.C., they claim that they can do it better.
I have to tell you, if you are a parent, you should go to your local school board and demand that they send the message to the state school board, you don't want anything to do with the National School Board Association. This is obviously corrupt. You now have two people that you can point to directly that are part of this incestuous, a cabal that is silencing parents and mining our children. You've got to get away from the National School Board Association. And no matter if you really think that they're doing things, they must be taught a lesson, and that lesson will only be taught when they lose everything. They have to lose everything.
Nikki, our president, put it really well yesterday when we were just chatting, and she said, they need a house cleaning. And that house cleaning is only going to happen when the states revolt, basically.
Yes.
And they say that we will not participate in this war that you have launched against the very people in our communities that we were elected to represent.